video, I want to share with you my workflow, how you can create extremely large images with high details that will work on pair with a MidJourney, maybe even better in some cases. And of course, another inspiration for me was like Magnific. But Magnific is very expensive. It's a great tool, but it's expensive. And I want to create actually something better that you can create huge, literally very large size of the images with an excellent amount of details. I mean, perfect images. Well, after experimenting a lot of time, I built a couple workflows, and I will show both those workflows with you and explain what will be different between them, which one work better and for what reason. And also, well, it will take a little bit time to go over because I want to explain in details how it's work and how you can reuse some of the components to build your own system. So grab a drink, let's get started. Okay, as I mentioned before, we have two workflows, and I divide them on purpose. One will use a multi-model system, including Flux and SDXL, and another one just will use one Flux model. Both of them have pluses and have minuses. Well, we'll start first with one that using two models. When I mean two models, if you look right here, we're using Flux model, and we'll use it also SDXL model. And of course, you don't need repeated all of this workflow. Those both workflows, you can download it for free. I'll provide link down below to you to my Patreon website. Just register and downloaded them. As well, all the links to all of these files or models and checkpoints will use it. You find inside the workflow. If you scroll down, and right here you can see in the notes, it's have all pathways located. I also design in a special way, so all nodes what they're using, you can download it from Manager and speak about a manager. So before you start working with this workflow, just go ahead, click on the Manager, and click right here, Update All. Just be sure you're on the latest 3.26 version or ComfyUI. If you're not sure, you can always go to Help, About ComfyUI, and right here it will show what version you have it. In my case, ComfyUI 3.26. It's always nice to update to latest because we're going to utilize some latest nodes what is there. As you're going and put your nodes inside, drag and drop those workflows, you want to go inside the manager, and inside manager you want to click on install missing nodes, which will bring a list of the nodes that not in our workflow. Currently you can see we have all of them, and then you can just click and install it, and it will install. After this, you want to restart your server. You can restart a couple ways. One, you can click restart there, or next you can go to your terminal and just close it and restart again. If for some reason you don't have it ComfyUI installed or manager, I will have it linked down below for you as well to check my video about how to install both of them. It's a very easy and straightforward process, just in case. Okay, after this, you can drag and drop, you install it, and you shouldn't see any red nodes. They're all default. Most of them is a core, and we're using some additional. Also, in another window here, you can see additional nodes, what I was using extra beside the core. So you can go directly there and download it if you need it, but Manager inside the ComfyUI should handle them just fine. Well, it's enough of preparations. Let's jump what we have here. And workflow, you can see it's built in several segments, and it's done on purpose. Because like first segment right here, if you can see, this is all about Flux, which we'll go check in a second how it's work. Next, we have it right here, model LoRA. It is normal SDXL and several LoRAs. Notice it's included 3 LoRAs. I recommend go no more than 3 because after this they start kind of affecting each other. It's like a patch, and you put one patch on top another, it sometimes may not work very well. And of course you can control them. And if you want it, you can disable them by right click and go click bypass. In this case, they won't be affecting. Or you can also just go and change value to 0 on the string of the model. While we also have some imports. And if you notice in this, before we dive deep in details, you'll notice we have our Flux. And Flux, after generating image, going to our special switch, which you can select between downloaded image or created. This is done for a reason, because sometimes it may take a little bit time to generate Flux, and you maybe want to play around with the settings with the LoRAs and other ones like ControlNet. Then you can disable this block and just using image. It's make a little bit faster work. And to disable any of this block, you'll find our bypasser, where, for example, you can just disable, click off, and you can see all these elements in this specific block, turn it off. And you can do apply to all of these blocks as you need it. Okay, after this, we have another one, LoRA. And what's happening here when we create one image, we can go next, this image. We're going to our upscaler. We're also calculating. And you do have a special slicer separate function, but I purposely leave this scale alone so you can see how math is working. You don't need to put any numbers or anything of a scale for image. It will calculate automatically. After this, we'll go add also ControlNet, and I just put it 2 ControlNet as example, one based on the depth, one is based on the open pose. You can also select by switch right here which one you want to use it. And of course, we're going to have it our upscale. We're using upscale for MKA. We come a little bit in a second to look on those upscale models. And apply ControlNet, and we're using Ultimate SD Upscale. This is one of the greatest node found, work excellent. We'll go over of the settings. And by the way, if you have a question about some settings, you'll find them also below. I add some notes, what is better to work. Same like on upscale models, you can see which model is better fit for what you're going to do. So I add a bunch of notes around to help you with this. And of course, after generation, we have it previews. This is first model. This is, we have it model upscale and with details. And this is special compare. So you can see, you can go back and forth and just compare between different models, see which one, how is the work. And later we have it special save. I'm not just save image, because for me, when I work with higher models, I want to create them save with high resolutions. And here you can specify which you want it, and I'm save in STFF, which lossless format. So in this case, no compression error or anything, and I can achieve the best result. Okay, this is very fast overview. Let's go now dive deep in details what we're going to do. And did I tell you grab the drink? Because I do want to go in deep, and I want you to understand very well how it's work. And keep in mind, this is my living project. So I develop for me as I find new techniques, new models, I implement them. So be sure you check on the Patreon for update models of this, or on the YouTube. Just subscribe, click this notification, because when this is updated, you will have it better new models. Okay, let's go first to dive in our blocks for the Flux. First, what we can see, you're loading our checkpoint, and this is a Flux special which included clip and be inside. You can separate if you want it. You can download it special Flux models which does not include clip, and you can also put them inside as separate if you need it. But in my case, it's just very good quantized model right here. Link down will be in the descriptions here. You can find, and you can download this model. As well, if you will have a question where to put it, just check the notes, and it also will specify for you where to put it, those models, where they should locate it. Okay, let's go back. Well, you'll notice we have a preload checkpoint. We preload our LoRAs, and LoRAs, for example, here it's a hand. I know that sometimes hand does not doing well, so I added. Currently 0.1, it's too much. You probably most you want to keep it between 0.5 and to 0.9. This is better model. It was from me experimenting previously, see how it's worked, but you can try to put it 1.5. In some cases, people says it's work better with higher value. That is why you have it this cool experimental. So it's meaning you can actually turn off everything else and just leave it your Flux working, and in this case you can just experiment inside here. This is why I separate on those blocks, so you don't spend all this time render what you don't need it. I have 2 LoRas here. You can, how I said before, put it about 3. They will be very safe in this case, but in that case we have 2, and you can modify this. So one is a hand, other ones it's LoRa add details. This is special to add those teeny tiny details to our preparation. So I usually leave it this about 1. You can play with this around. We have our clip encoder, which is will have it. If you now remember, or if you probably know or don't know, Flux require only 1 prompt, so it does not use it negative prompts. Okay, let's go ahead next. And right here is only 1 positive prompt. We'll go to the prompt in a second, and I will show what I'm using. And by the way, speaking about prompts, if you need it, down below I have several examples of the prompts right here. I'll show how to what to copy, where to use it, so you can experiment and try it by yourself or see how the structure is working with them. Okay, next of the clip, if we're going down, you'll notice right here we have our input for the numbers, and this is special SDXL ratio, but it's going from 1024 and 1024. It's what size it is, but it's make much easy because aspect ratio we can change. So easy, instead you calculating, you can click down and select what ratio you want to use it for your image, and this will automatically assign width and height for our empty latent image, and also for the Flux sampling. Well, here's become a little bit kind of take apart, and the reason is it's not just a case sampler, which we usually will use it. This is the advanced or deconstruct, and the reason why, because I want to use it this detail daemon sampler, which is utilizing sigma, and sigma it's allowed us to tell on which part start adding details and where to stop. So we can say right here, let's start on a again, it's in %. So if you have 20 frames, it will start on 2nd or 3rd frame. Base, it will adjust. If you look and you think it is going as a curve, it's what actually happened, because we're actually using smooth right here, true. So it's not just start, it's like a curve going nicely. And base, it's a peak of this curve adjusting to us. So this is where we're going. We can start early or we can start late. This one is actually very nice to play for you, start and base. This is how much details when it's the noiser, when it's the start working on this generation, when it's start removing noise for the image and adding details. While if you start details too early, you will actually remove some big parts. You may be losing legs or other things, and if you start too late, it won't be enough details. Different image will allow you to play different in different way, and I actually have some information a little bit here as well. Personally, it's what I do. I have it notes, and when I find good combination, I just write down. So you can more than welcome use it any of these. Just keep it your notes on your best settings, what you can find and you can utilize. For example, right here you can see I have it settings for sampler and for the scheduler. For example, I says if you want more clean HDR, you can use the DMP M2 beta. For cinematic, you can use it simple and angular. For quality, you can use the HDM uniform in UniPC. So it's kind of just settings, and you can of course add your own as you're working around and playing and try to find. First, if you're not a scheduler, it says HDM uniform right here. And sampler UniPC, it's what we're using for the quality. The higher quality, it will take a little bit longer to create image. But again, if you're going for quality, and this is straight out, if we look on what is rendered, look right here, this is actually not bad quality. If we look on a hair, again, we come very close, look on this. This is a beautiful details already generated at this time. Okay, and this, what do we have here? We have our Flux model. As we're going from there, aspect ratio, Flux. We have our case sampler separate. We have our random noise. Currently, it's randomly selected. You can fix. And many times, if you just play with values, I would recommend for you just switch this random noise to the fix. On this case, you will have it generate about same model, and by modifying these values, you can see how much it will change from one value to another. And I actually done a lot of this testing, and let me show you. For example, like right here, you can see I done with a lot of images done over and over and over, just to try to figure out what settings is working. And it's much easier if you create this way, set on a fix. Okay, well, I'm going to switch back to random. We also have it on steps, how many it's taking. Usually 20, 24 work very well. You can increase higher, but then you start having this kind of HDR deeper effect, and it's on personal choice. And it's again, the steps may work and require depend on what model of the Flux you're using. In my example in this test, 24 just work fine. You can try to drop to 20, it's way make a little bit faster, or you can go higher to like 30 and see how that will work for you. As well, next to this, you can notice right here, I have parameters that explain every parameter in our given sampler, so you can see, and also it's tell you what is recommended for what. Just a little bit help in case, well, you don't need reference maybe to video all the time, but I do appreciate if you watch all the way. It will help my YouTube algorithm a lot. Okay, so right here we have it our info. We have it our detail amount 1. Just leave it like this. Start when we want to do. If you want more details, you can start early, or you can shift the base. Right now it's from middle, a little bit more to details. So if we look, it's create a lot of teeny tiny details in this case, and you can adjust and see how this works. After that, we have it our sampler. It's where we kind of combine in all magic of the noising happen inside here. We're going next to our decoder, and we're actually ready. This is our Flux model sitting just in this area. Our next step, if we're going to follow our path, we have an image selector. Image selector allowed us to process separate image that we uploaded. The reason is, for example, if you want to more play around with the settings in this area on the same image, and many times when you work, you actually want to compare exactly the same image. How does all these changes will apply or add images? You don't want to generate new and don't know what's happened. This way, you can upload it images as well. You can just have it photo or anything else. I think it's about like 2 different workflows in one, but you can always use it as the same. It's what in many cases what I do, and I did this for myself. I just readjust when I need it and use it all the way. So just start generating from image, go all the way to the end result. Just in case if you need it, you can go always go here, just disable so it does not generate any more images, and you can work just with uploaded image. When you select an uploaded image, be sure you check true, it will select our image, and false, select from a Flux. You can change name if you need it, wherever you adjust, or maybe I will change even before I upload it. So maybe if you open this model, it's already will have it a little bit more helpful than just Boolean constant set right here. The one thing I would recommend for you, if you enable to use it image here, go and set this to bypass. Otherwise, it will give you a little bit error if you disable this one. So, but it's still in this case set true. It will use it our image from here to future process. By the way, this is a Baba Yaga from Russian fairy tale, what I was doing, and it's actually very not bad on the Flux, how it's done with details, and you find some prompt right here as well to do if you need it as well. Okay, let's see what's happening here. Next, you'll notice we have it another model loading, and this is actually is Turbo XL, so it's very fast model. It's worked perfectly for what we needed, smaller. Why do we have this? One, if you notice on our other models, when we're going to check in the future, we're just loading on one Flux model, and we'll check this later, that workflow. Right here, I found out if we're loading this Turbo SL, it's actually render quite a bit faster. And because we are going to use it separate segments. I will explain later why we're creating the grid to upscale. And if we compare, let me pull out right here, you can see with XL, with a Flux, each segment, small one, it's take about 3-4 minutes. It's take quite a bit long. But if we're going and we look on this model, it's take 12 seconds. So it's a significant increase in speed. And I found in some cases I like quality better done with SDXL or with XL model than we using Flux model all the way. So, but Flux model will provide different benefits for us. If you're concerned about memories, notice when we're using this model, you can still do this in 2 segments. If you have it like very small VRAM, and it's another point to use this way. Or also, if you just use it all the way, your Flux model will be unloaded and our XL model will be loaded in your memory. So it's take a little bit time to swap those models, but it will work in this case. And right here, we're downloading this model. Next, you can see we have it 3 LoRAs. The one, it is details. And again, details, you probably recommend to use about 0705 work best. We also have it our face and skin. You can modify, and I have it like many different LoRAs. You can put it here. This one is kind of very interesting because if you notice the face get distorted, because we'll look why it may get distorted. Because I know in one case you'll say, hey, you know what, we already kind of, let me enable this one, and we'll just go with this, yes. Okay, I'll go switch here back, and let's disable bypass on this. For example, you look and says, hey, its face already look good. Why it could be distorted? Well, it's because we're actually going to add additional noise. And in a second, I'll explain why we need to do this additional noise and kind of add more to this, and after we'll cleaning up again. It's kind of go over in this case. But anyway, right here, in case if you notice face or hands getting or skin does not, you can increase this value from 0.2. 0.2, it's almost the lowest. You can create in 0, then one effect at all. But from 0.2, you start to see some changes, and you can adjust these values. For example, make a little bit better work on a face, increase values to maybe to 0.7. It's recommend keep it not higher than 1 on this case. And this is add all these LoRAs. So if we're going down to LoRA, you'll notice right here we have it our prompts. Because we're using SDXL or XL model, we have it negative and positive prompt. And that is bring us to the point of the prompts, how they work. You'll notice right here I have 3 prompts. If we look closer on a prompt, you'll see, okay, it's Baba Yaga example. Well, right here, sci-fi, we'll look on this in a second. You have the main prompt with a model. Notice right here we have it our model. Next, we have it our environment prompt and negative prompt. So what I found from experience, I don't need to put it right here, prompt with include models. Actually, in fact, if I have it right here where I explain character, then many times when we start upscale, you'll see teeny tiny characters faces all over. Maybe I will show you how it's look, but it's look very funny. And it's not necessarily what we want because we want clean. Well, I found out if I have just environment around here, not the model, our model still be processed very fine, and ControlNet will help us with this. And a negative prompt, of course, will affect if we need to clean up some other elements. So I treat this as a normal negative prompt and as an environmental describing of environment inside here. So this is our 2 going. Well, let's next look how, and you can see out of image we have a lot of output. 1 is going down to our scale. So what it does, it's take any input of scale, get it image size, and perform magical calculations to create for us information on the tiles width and height. Well, what we speak about tile, limitations currently when we're creating, it will be 1024 by 1024, well, with different aspect ratio. But if we create this image, problem with is image, we have only so many pixels. So sometimes we cannot add as much details because image is too small. Well, we can go after increase in size and it will become blurry because we don't add any new informations. With this approach, what's happening, we actually tiling. We're creating a small segment of the image. Well, let's look closer what's happening. Right here, we have our image. And instead, increase all image, it's divide based on a size, where we put it, and based on how much we want to increase in size. So for example, if we double in size, it will be 2048 by 2048 from 1024 and so on. So we can create a large different sizes. Well, what system does is going and it's take one simple segment, like for example this, and says I will upscale this. Well, beside upscaling, now we have options. We can add additional details because we have more pixels. And adding more details, it's meaning we can tell AI, go ahead right here and add, well, we cannot work with this. We need to add additional noise. So you remember I tell you when we have a noise, and it's what it does. It's add this noise. And you can say if you want more noise, and remember the more noise you add it, the more of original image will be gone and replaced with high details. But now we can create all of these details that we have before in one image. We can just put it in this teeny tiny segment. So it's meaning right here, just this teeny tiny segment become our 1024, and all of this, what you see, all these details, amount details, we can just put it in that one place. And because of that, that is allowed us to add additional details. And this is actually what it does. This one, it's help us to create those details to add, because on that level, of course, we need to add additional things, like for example, padding and other things. Well, because styles, if we just render, you will see the seams. So if we don't want to see those lines where the tiles come together, we usually specify here with width, height, and padding. And it's some additional information you can find down below, will help you with default settings, and also you can compare. General rule, if you have more segments or bigger segments, you probably want some little bit better overlay. This one, what is right here, is set but just work fine, and if you want it, you can modify, but usually I just leave it for this like that. Well, before we going to this area, now let's look on our control net. Control net, it's help us if we add too much noise to keep it more to a regional poses and other things, so we don't lose like fingers or anything. And right here, I have our models preloaded for XL models for our control net. And for example, this using depth, and you can see right here we have our depth, or we have OpenAI and or OpenPose, and you can switch between which one do you want to use it. It's more on the preference, but this is general control net. It is not necessary when you have LoRA noise applied, LoRA the noise applied. But if you have it a little bit higher, you want a little bit more details, maybe I'll play with this, then control net does help us with this. And usually you can see it's string 1 set, and it just set in this way. Okay, let's look also now to other line where we're going to our upscale. This is our upscale model, and I like it for XML. This is performed very well, and you can also switch to different or upload a different model. This is what I'm using in my example. And also, if you notice down, we're going to upscale model from our image, and we're using also additional method upscaling. Right here, I have an explanation of those methods, if you have it. This one, again, it's one of the longer, but it's create one of the best quality for upscale. And you can compare if you need it. Right here, our original image. And if we're going back to our comparison, okay, and right here, this is our upscale, and you can compare them, which all of this work, upscale versus not upscale. So you can kind of play with them as well here. Okay, After this all information coming to our final upscaler, and this is ultimate SD Upscale, which is very nice node because you can use it the same for the Flux or for just XL, what we're doing here. So it's very nice to support all of this. And the reason is, if we think about what's different between Flux, XL, and normal, it's like different in very simple explanations. Think about if you have a matrix, it's just different amount, maybe 4 by 4, or you have it 8 by 8, 16 by 16, just in the simple explanations. Just some models have it more latent space, more mathematical space kind of assigned, and some have it a little bit less. Okay. Most important in these areas, what we need to look, it is how many steps, 24. Usually I put it same match with my Flux before, 24. You can have it same Euler or simple, and this is sampler and schedule kind of work very well with what we done with our Flux or other models. So you can utilize same Euler. It's produced very fast, simple, but you always can go ahead and change this, like on DPM to MM, for example, Chorus or other things. Those ones will work very well, and right here as sampler we can use it Chorus, and they produce very nice image, and they produce more details, but it's take a little bit longer to process on this case. CFG6 work just fine. Mostly what you want to modify is maybe play a little bit with sampler, schedule, and the noise. By the way, if you change the noise here, the higher value will give it more flexibility, will create more details, but it will deviate from original image more. So just keep this in mind. And when you do add more here, you may have a problem with the like hands or faces, where I notice it's the reason why I added these LoRAs that may help kind of keep them in a properly way. So it's just adjust you, and you're more welcome to add different LoRAs if you need it here instead those. Also, if you check this denoise, I would recommend match with your sims fix denoise, because it is where overlap happen on those sims. They want to apply same type of denoise, so it's kind of the matching and does not stay out. And by the way, this is because I want to keep them together. Just as example, in my another one, you will see that one, it will stay separate. So I add them as of different values. And just in case if you want it, you can copy. I purposely keep it them two different workflows, so you can see which one work better for you. And as well, it's a learning tool to see what nodes you can utilize, and you can create your own excellent workflow if you want it. Okay. So after this processing, let's go next here. This is, we have our original image. Here we have our image compare between upscale and render, so we can see how much, what the difference will happen. And you can see with details, like let's go on a close here before, and you can see how much it's add. Now the golden look better. This is before just upscale. Okay, and if we're going, it's add more depth to our image. And of course, next we have apply color matching. This is take our original image, apply color match. It's most important when we start importing different images. So it will help us color match on this. And it's going to our image, advanced image save, where you can specify extensions, compressions, everything that you, what you want it. For me, general, I just want to keep it this. And also in my images, I says embedded workflow. So if you have it, my image, drag and drop, it should have this available for you as well. So this is what we gone over our kind of multi-model workflow. Let's go check other ones, which will be a little bit faster because we already cover a lot of things what we cover here. Our next workflow, let's zoom out and look. It is somewhat similar with few changes. And one of them, main, notice we're just using only one Flux model. So we don't have it loaded any other model because it's utilizing Flux model, and it will be also utilizing same Flux model to generate each of those segments. And by the way, to increase resolution, you just need to go upscale image and scale by, change right here. 0.5, it's a twice. So it's actually not make smaller, it's a twice. 0.2 will exactly same size. 1, it will increase by, I think, 4 times, because if we look right here, this is 4 times upscaler. So it will increase by 4 times, and 2 will be by 8 times, and so on. You can create quite a bit large image, and when you create it, it's take a time. So usually if you're using the Flux, it will create different ways. I'll show you what is plus and minuses in a second, but it is take a little bit longer. Well, let's look what we have in the workflow. This one looks similar to what we saw before. With exception, you'll need us checkpoints going to these LoRAs, and here I want to use it a little bit different one, so they're going in different LoRAs passing here as well. But these sections, it's about same. And you can see it's creating for us very nice image of the somewhere on the space throne, alien throne sitting here. All this description, if you need it, it's right here will be for you. And this does not necessarily include our prompt for the background. If you remember, in this model, we have it actually main prompt, we have it environmental prompt, and negative prompt. So in this case, we'll just reuse the same prompt. I found later in the first, did use it just one prompt, and you notice right here I have 2 prompts. So personally, I found out that I do need to tweak a little bit that prompt. Remove mostly model reference, otherwise it will have it like faces pop up all over the place. It's a horrifying, but it's fun actual experiment. Okay, same, we have exactly the same box here. Okay, well, let's go to disable bypass, which is you can preload a different image, and you can see this is different image I was using, so you can kind of play between those ones. Next, from our load checkpoint, even this one's the same, hands and add LoRA details on the Flux. Here we have a skin, and I add additional details. So same LoRAs what I'm using here, but because I don't want to use the hands, I want to use it just in case if the skin does not look good. That's what I found. It's losing like textures, become very plasticky look. So this LoRA, it does help. And both set on 5, you can play with them, bring them down on a little bit or up, it's whatever up to you. We have it going through our clip decoder, it's what we have it. And because LoRA utilize no negative here, but this is required, we're using our condition to 0 for our clip and add positive and negative in this case. Notice in this example, I don't have it control net. Just to give you different perspective, if you want it, you can also implement or put it control net for the Flux here. But for this example, I want to show you don't need it necessarily have it control net. Again, something to compare, something to play around with this. Our upscale is a very similar model what we're using previously, and you can see it's the same block here. Same with our defining of tiles, calculating size of the tiles or how many we needed width and height, which is coming right here. Okay, and this is value for the Flux, a little bit changed. You'll notice I have it 32, so just play a little bit with these settings. And the noise I separate, as I said before, instead control them inside here. I just move them out and put it only one controller for both the noise on the seams or the noise on a separate tile itself. Okay. Next, as example, you'll notice right here I'm using DPPM SD GPU and Kara scheduler. This is run longer, but they're supposed to provide better details. You can use it exactly same settings with XL model, or using Euler and simpler here as well. So it just either one will work. This is just to provide a little bit more fun and experiment for you as well. And if we look down here with the same explanations, what we're using in our Ultimate Upscaler. Okay, now let's go preview. This will be exactly the same as before. You can see if we create render And this is just a little bit, you can see just small details, because I was experimenting and I says, what if I add just little bit, see how that will add details. And usually reason is why we want to create those details, because we have our image. And if, by the way, right here you can see I had upscaler as well. You can have it comparison, not like in another one. And you can see upscaler definitely does, you know, add a little bit more, but notice it did update, but we have a problem with some detalization is not there. It's make sharper and add introducing noise, but we want to add that type of the noise here to our things. So then we can remove that noise, yes, and we can add additional details because we have much more pixels now to work with. Okay. And same things, we have a 2 comparison. I put it here instead 1. If you prefer 2 comparison, you can do exactly same in here. Instead 1 just view and 1 comparison. So just different ways to look. And same, we have it matching colors, and we can save our final image with additional details. This was real little bit more gentle on details. If you want to increase more details, add to this denoiser, put it higher value. You can even try 0.5. It will add a lot of artifacts as well, but sometimes you want to push it from one extreme to another extreme and see how it will fit, how well it will work. Okay, let's go look down here. We have it same models, and on both you can go download them as well. And by the way, if for some reason models not there, you are welcome to try your models. And if you find some models that you like better, checkpoints or anything, please give me suggestions, because this is living a workflow. And living, I mean, I constantly working on this. I'm updating. I find something better. I find something more, tweaking, adjusting, because my goal was creating a beautiful image that will be better than MidJourney and better than other, and I think it's achieving, because I can show you some very high resolution the images like this, and let me show you. And you can see this is 4800. I mean, I don't think MidJourney even can do this without a good upscale, and I compare some upscale, they don't have it as much of details, and I create one with 10 or 20,000. I mean, it was huge. And best, of course, it is not just upscaling, it is adding details. So each time when we come closer, like let's go look closer, look on this. Look how much details is add right here. You can see those teeny tiny elements. I mean, it's incredible. Of course, it's not, you know, I'm looking and sometimes says, well, I can modify something. It is working. It is a living workflow. So give it your comments, give it your suggestions. I will greatly appreciate. And just to repeating kind of myself about this workflow, well, it's a 2 workflows. Be sure you follow link to go to Patreon, download them, play them around. If you find some suggestions, optimizations, or a better way to handle, let me know about this. Experiment with different LoRAs and maybe different checkpoints, see how they work. More than welcome to modify and share your workflow. I will be happy to see. This is probably will be changed, honestly. You know, in a couple days, probably I will adjust something, find something better. And for that reason, be sure to subscribe. Check this notification to see when it's a new one coming up. And thank you for watching all the way up to here. And I will see you next time. Have fun time. Bye.